Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Baseball at 3, and hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So, so much has happened at WFAN, so much in terms of the town. Now, the talent, quote unquote, are taking a vacation for 2 weeks. So, there's not going to be a lot of new stuff going on until January 5th when they bring out their new lineup. That is headlined by the icon, Craig Carton. I have a video on Craig Carton talking about him and his past. Why people are very angry that he was able to land another job at the Fan. But Brandon Tierney and Sal Licata both were basically, how can you say, fired. They were fired. Essentially, the BT and Sal show was canceled, and they were fired. There's no other way to put it. Now, they acted very professionally, but there were a lot of people that called in, and they were upset, and have written to these guys, I guess, on X, and saying how upset they are that the show is over. Now, they've taken the high road and all this, but apparently they found out, folks, get this, when they were told that they were being canceled a day after Thanksgiving. They knew that. So the news hit the following Tuesday, but they knew on Friday that they were done. That their show was getting crushed, was getting sent off to the Phantom Zone forever. Now this show had decent buzz. This show had helped them create a growing YouTube channel with WFAN. They did a lot of clips. They brought in a lot of news. They did a lot of work over the last 2 years. Now, I was very critical of this show because I thought that they were very much going into the realm of 1970s, 1980s shock jock way. Not the sort of the gross side, but more sort of making up things. But we'll get into it here. It's water under the bridge. But the point being is that this was a show that people were talking about. This was a show that was doing well, I guess, in terms of ratings. I don't know how they quantify these radio shows anymore, because social media is such an important aspect of this. So I don't know how you quantify that. So I don't know. I can't really give you an exact idea of how well the show was doing. It was doing well enough. Nobody said that it was because the ratings were bad. This show wasn't canceled like the previous show that was there. That the previous show before Tiki and BT were there. That show was a disaster. But 2 weeks ago, Sal ended his part of the show, aka Spaz Licata, and this past Friday, the Coconut Head, aka Brandon Tierney, finished up his run there. I guess he was doing the last week by himself. I guess Sal's contract, they told Sal hit the road. Now, I'll have a video on him later in the next 2 days. But on Monday, it's going to be a big day, and that's Brandon Tierney has decided to do a YouTube channel. Now, I'd said in other videos, once the news got out that this was they were facing this, I thought that they should go independent and then build their own brand. That way you don't have to listen to anybody. You be your own boss. And be independent, and then you want to get to a point where you beg, where WFN begs them to come back. Because I'm going to make a prediction here. Craig Carton's third time around is not going to last that long. The first time was, 10 years? And the second time was 3 years? Well, I would say this will last less than that. That's my prediction. Because from a person that is very observant, doesn't come across as very stable. This is Craig Carton. So if he's quitting and leaving and quitting and leaving and quitting and leaving and come back, probably going to happen again. If it's happened he resigned the first time before he went to prison. I have a video on his history and why he was sent to prison. Federal prison, by the way. But here's from Bad Media. This is what Brandon Tierney had to say on his final program. I did a video on him the other day. It did pretty good. And of course, if you watch for the first time, hit the subscribe button. Right now we're doing a lot of heavy WFAN stuff, particularly until we get to when Carton returns in 2 weeks. But we'll have other stuff here, so just so keep that in mind. Headline: Brandon is from Barrett Media. This is a great site. This is a new site I just sort of popped up and found. It's radio-centric, which is interesting. Headline: Brandon Tierney has no regrets exiting WFAN amid Craig Carton's return. He shouldn't have any regrets because he did nothing wrong. And Craig Carton will talk about how they did nothing wrong. He's done a lot of wrong. Quote, the show is absolutely deserving to be on WFAN. The morning of December 2nd is one that WFAN host Brandon Tierney will never forget. While pondering over yet another New York Giants loss, news of his immediate future with the radio station was instantly in question. The situation involved the return of Craig Carton, the icon, to the station for a third time, with reports suggesting that Tierney and co-host Spaz Licata were on their final days of WFAN. The news broke, folks, when they were doing their show. This stuff came out when they were doing the show, when they're on the air. It was a unique moment that every talent and company attempts to prevent. However, how one reacts is key, although there is no playbook for handling such a situation. We had so many conversations about the very real possibility of Craig coming back to the fan, said Tierney. For us, the main checkpoint was that we had a choice here. Are we going to address this and get a deluge of calls and allow the show to go off the rails? You get people calling in, supporting us, and denigrating some others. We weren't going to allow it to turn into that. It's not professional. That's the one thing throughout all this. Uncertainty at the fan. It was no secret that rumors of a third run for the icon at WFAN lingered following the cancellation of Carton's failed program, Breakfast Balls, at Fox Sports 1. First it was the Craig Carton show. It was how original. Then it was the Breakfast Ball. Just trying to be funny, Breakfast Balls. Tierney stated that around the end of summer there was a sense that the roster move could indeed happen, with no true formula for how it could affect the station's lineup or his own future on the fan. Now, I said during the summer that in particular Sal Licata was in trouble because he was the low man in the totem pole. He wasn't Boomer sized and he wasn't going to get let go. They would have asked Boomer, "Do you want Craigie back?" And uneven Evan was not going to be in trouble because they love Evan. You know, I was thinking about this. How lucky Evan has been in his life. How lucky or how fortunate. You know, how many little kids get a chance to get on Imus's show and get discovered like that? How many kids get discovered and be in a movie that involves Howard Stern? It's just talent, I guess. I guess there was no, people that knew these particular radio icons. Just keep that in mind. It just seems interesting. I was thinking about that today. Did he get luck, or was it talent? At 7 years old, he was going to be on the radio, got his chance to be on the radio, or 8 years old, or however old he was, to be on Imus's show. As you know, Imus didn't in particular bring people in unless there was something on the side for him. Just keep that in mind. So Evans had a lot of things handed to him in his life. So they'll never get rid of Evan. Quote, we were not fully caught off guard by the news of Carton's return. Management kept us in the loop and communicated several possibilities, all revolving around Craig's potential return, explained Tierney, whose contract officially ends with WFAN on December 31st. About 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, the possibility of Carton's return got a little more serious. Wow. So they knew before Thanksgiving. Oh, that's great. Then I knew it was going to happen, but the contract wasn't done. Tierney said he requested a meeting with Chief Business Officer, Market President of Odyssey, New York, Chris Olivero, for the Monday following Thanksgiving. After months of speculation and rumor, as well as his own contract talks being pushed down the road due to a potential Carton return, Tierney sought clarity on the situation. We met after the show on Monday after Thanksgiving, and that's when it was communicated to me that Carton was returned even though he hadn't signed the contract. Chris did explicitly say, once we announce it, you will know we will do it right by you. I believed it, and I fully believe that was their intention. Would the fan keep BT and Sal? Well, that's a question mark. After 13 years of the company, the Brooklyn native finally had clarity on Carton's return, or the speculation about what it specifically meant for Licata and themselves remained. While I personally considered Carton's options, including a potential reunion former co-host Evan Roberts, Tierney explained that there was an effort to find a way to bring in Carton while keeping BT and Sal on WFAN moving into 2026. You know what happened here, folks? Evan said no to getting back with Tierney. With Carton. That's what happened here. Evan was the one that put the kibosh on this. Chris bent over backwards exploring the financial viability of creating a fourth show. He didn't want to move on from BT and Sal. At the end of the day, it just wasn't economically feasible. Yeah, they don't usually do that. Despite Carton's eventual return to WFN and management's efforts to find a solution, the process in full affected Tierney's own contract discussions. Typically, talks would begin in late summer or early fall based on previous experiences. But with Carton's return looming, discussions never truly began. Wow. So they knew right away, like I said. This time was, we don't know what we're doing, explained Tierney about his feelings regarding the contract talks timeline. When you hear that and you've been in the business a while, you can't keep your head in the clouds. You have to be prepared mentally for everything. My contract was up and there was never a concrete dialogue about an extension. It was always about figuring out what's happening with Carton and then we go from there. No. Following the reports leaking via The Athletic, Tierney and Takata did not address the news immediately while management kept both towns informed about a potential return for months. The show agreed to a stipulation to not comment until Odyssey officially released the news. One of the things that was told to us in both our cases, if this comes to fruition with Craig, finish when you want to finish. We trust you guys to do the right thing, explained Tierney. We did avoid addressing his return out of respect for our company and out of respect for their request. At the end of the day, we're employees. We don't own the company. That's why you be your own boss. That's why you do your own thing. You don't have to be a bitch to somebody else. Be your own bitch. Well, that doesn't mean whatever. Tierney recalled a discussion of Olivero during which the executive announced that news of Carton's return could leak before the company made an announcement. If that happened, Olivero instructed both towns to plow through while the company sped up the official release so the show could address the news. The news did leak and BT and Sal remained silent. However, that did not happen with other WFAN shows. After Norman and Gregory discussed the reports the next morning, it's Boomer and Geo, Tierney requested guidance on how to address the issue. At 10 a.m., BT and Sal addressed the reports to start the program, promising to go more in depth later. We weren't blindsided by this. It sucks. I don't think it's necessary, fair, or right. The shows absolutely deserve to be on the fan. Tierney explained. I get it from a business perspective, but we tried to straddle the line, and we did. Was it easy? No. Tierney has no regrets about how he handled the situation at the fan. He also understands Carton's value to WFN. Not hearing from Craig since the news became official, though, did surprise him. BT is familiar with the departure process, having seen many colleagues around the country experience it. As he officially closes his chapter at WFN, he looks forward to a future full of possibilities and projects that had been on hold for far too long. Now, he had this podcast, YouTube channel, that he was simulcasting on the fan. And he shouldn't have done it. He should have did separate. Okay? You're losing money that way. But now he's learned his lesson. Hopefully he'll build his own brand. Quote, it is my mission to find the next thing, and it's exciting. I'm open to talking to anybody. The industry has changed tremendously. I was smart enough to know that. I wasn't going to have a 20-year run at the fan and find myself in my 60s with the option to retire. I always knew there would be a next chapter, not a footnote. But a big chapter that's going to look very different than the chapters I've written so far. I'm excited about that. Okay. It's a long article. Oh my God. It's a lot. It's a lot to read. I would say, these guys, I feel bad for them. Because they had a successful show. But the radio business is cutthroat, and they will cut you up and spit you out. Chew you up and spit you out, cut you up and, all over the place. That's a weird thing to say. But anyway, and just think about this, folks. We work hard, and this is what gets, I think, a lot of people upset. You do the right thing. You're very good in your job. But then you see situation, and you follow the rules, you follow the law, you do what's asked of you, you do what you're told, And then you see stuff like this. A guy that was in prison. This was federal prison that he was in. Okay? And he comes back. He gets in, he comes, now redemption's one thing. But the things he did was very serious stuff. He hurt a lot of people, this guy. But this is why people are so uptight about what's going on in this country. Is that so many people do the right thing, and you see people like this come back in and basically take over the place. And you're like, you got quality guys. I make fun of them all the time. Quality guys like this, professional guys like this, they can't keep their job, and they did a good job. And they have to leave. That's not right. That's not right. But anyway, hopefully you like this video. And of course, I'm taking this very seriously because I didn't want to see them lose their jobs. You know, we joked around about it. I joked a lot about this during the summer. But you know what? They followed the rules. They did the right thing. They did a good job. And they're getting sent off to the curb for a criminal. For a con. You know, convicted criminal. A real one. Not a fake one. Well, thank you for watching this video. And of course, please subscribe to Baseball Hut 3. And I'll see you later.